December 9th, a battle-tested, road-weary group of players and coaches gathered in Statesboro High's gym around what had been their goal the past 4 years. The championship glory achieved by those before them had remained out of reach, and playing in the title game twice before, they had been close enough to touch it, but felt it slip through their fingers each time. But in the heat of summer months ago, they resolved they would execute every block, every pass, and every tackle they needed to achieve their proper place among the greatest teams. Blue skies and high hopes mark the start of any new season. Coming one game short of taking it all 2 years in a row, Statesboro High set about preparing for 2005 with more than just a sense of urgency.
Had a lot of kids who had a lot of playing time. They played 30 games in the last 2 years. I think losing the last 2 years was you might say, well, we're ready to take a break. We've been close, but I think that was maybe the driving force to our kids. Hey, we want to get back. For a lot of us, this is our last shot, and that provided a lot of motivation for our guys.
The Blue Devils' first step in their journey took them into new territory. Despite being just miles from the borough, Big Blue had never teed it up in the town of Brooklyn.
First game going in, there's always a lot of questions. Who's going to perform, who's not? Do I have the people in the right place?
The house is about full. You hit the end zone to the VIP. Statesboro faithful showed up to fill their section.
Much to the delight of the Yellow Jackets faithful, Statesboro got off to an inauspicious start. After a penalty negated a kickoff return for a touchdown, Ron Flatch showed that Southeast is no pushover.
The give inside the whistle on the rock, but Dr. fumbles the ball on the ground, and Southeast has it. Charles Rock, he got cracked.
You didn't really have to say anything to Charles. He knew he fumbled. He's got to make up for it. After running the kickoff back.
Instead of a touchdown to start the thing off, we back on our end of the field, and we hand the ball off, and bang, we get a big hit in the middle, and we lose the football. So the first two things were bad down there.
Bloody but hardly beaten, Statesboro turned things over to what some say was their best unit, and they responded.
Well, Flatch, the option keeper far side, and he is brought down for a loss.
You hit him, you got me? I want you linebackers to loosen up.
3rd and 5 for STG throw 40. Far hash from the left of the west goal. Block will grab it, and he brought down.
The offense started off kind of sluggish, but our defense held down strongly so we could hold the shutout.
For the game, Southeast managed only 2 first downs and a mere 54 yards of total offense. And along the way, special teams showed they came to play also.
That's the step, the front block by Wilkerson. Far side rushing, falls on it at the 26-yard line.
In the second, Charles Rock redeemed himself by punching home one of his 2 scores on the day. And in the fourth, David Cohn showed off the arm that earned him his trip to Michigan.
Number 19, the 2nd and 7 call, Cohn, 2-step drop steps. Bang to Knox near inside, makes the grab, get him 6.
Well, we don't really know where we stand yet, so we just want to come out there and try and put a lot of points up. We know our defense was going to do their job.
Week 2 had the Blue Devils on the road again, facing down rival Screven County. The Gamecocks were coming off a 47-19 win over Effingham, where as a team they rushed for roughly 300 yards. But any thoughts of an encore were eliminated on the game's first play.
11, 15, here number 20, 25, 30, 35, down he goes. Alex Dingle goes upstairs on special teams.
Our goal is to go out there and make a statement and let our opponents know we're here.
That was just a game that we were like, shoot, him making it like that could make a big difference in the game, and it did, and that just got all us hyped.
Wing set, motion on the wing back, we insist the uniforms, and down he goes for long.
The Big Blue wrecking crew steadily turned up the heat and eventually knocked starting quarterback Chris Pye out of the action.
Diving over his left foot, Pye will keep it, and sends about the 44 for his block back. Finally dragged down on the play by Wilkerson, and Ty is down hurt.
You don't mean to do it, but it just ended up happening. So you just like help the guy out, hope he get up and can come back to the game.
He gave us a lot of boost because we know he was a pretty good quarterback. And to bring in a second string quarterback that don't really play, and they say he was a freshman, I know we kind of had it. We're going to get in his head pretty good, and we're going to be kind of nervous.
Michael Johnson came in to replace the injured Pye, a different quarterback, but the results remain the same.
Boy, is he quick. He threw him down like a rag doll.
With the Gamecocks offense crippled, it was time for Statesboro's ground attack to finally get going.
Block this side to the 2-1. Give it there. You can't arm tackle Star Brock. You can't grab a shoulder.
As the game progresses and they play kids both ways, we're two platooning. We don't have anybody, but I think Knox playing both ways. We're eventually we're gonna wear you down.
Which is just what Dominic Lanier did.
The game will near. Breaking near side. 5 makes the turn. Leads. Get it there.
At the end of 4 quarters, Statesboro was headed home with a 28-0 win and a perfect 2-0 record. The grounds crew at Womack Field put their best foot forward, rolling out the red carpet for Statesboro in their home opener. Much to the dismay of Swainsboro, the Blue Devils offense chose this game to start putting it all together.
After the second game, guys are getting a little more comfortable with their role, with their responsibilities. We knew what Swainsboro would bring.
Hey, look. Hey, we can break this one right here. Watch it. That's it. Takes a snap. Rolls right side. Looks deep. Goes deep. Finds Natson on the 5-yard line. Touchdown!
Confidence that they gained by playing over at Scriven and playing well more towards the second half, and getting some points on the board kind of carried a little momentum.
Be ready for 5-3. If they run 5-3 and adjust to that, be ready for that. Watch for the aim. Set. Third and goal, Statesboro. Give near side. He has blockers. Dive. Touchdown, Blue Devils. Nice job, everyone. Nice job. Statesboro lines up in the broken bone. Off the right side, breaks the tackle, finds open field, caught from behind. Did he make it? Yes! Touchdown! Did you slow up that guy right there? You don't even have a tackle, did you? What back to you? Counter! And guess what play they ran to score a touchdown? Counter!
The ground game had the Tigers reeling, but it was another unit that put them away.
Our special team plays a big part in the game because that can make a big difference in whether you win or lose.
John Knox back deep to receive. Catches it, cuts 2 defenders. Pass the 30, the 40, passes midfield, 1 defender to beat. Hurdles the man, he's gone. 80 yards to the touchdown.
Through 4 quarters, the blue and white gained 300 yards of total offense, shutting out Swainsboro 35-0.
This thing ain't gonna jinx me, is it?
It shouldn't have. However, Coach Pennington's question almost proved prophetic as Statesboro struggled to find their rhythm.
Hallelujah! Gosh almighty, we can't have that.
Wayne County struggled to simply find the football.
One's over his head. Wow, just a fall on it. And it's number 19, covered by just.
They wanted us back from the previous year, too. Don't get me wrong, them boys, they're pretty tough over there at Wayne County.
Settling for 2 Josh Rich field goals, the blue and white held a 6-0 lead. But Wayne County then went where no team had gone this year, into the Statesboro end zone.
Wow, play action. Set. Throws deep in the middle. Has a man. It is.
All right, listen. All right, so now we are learning right here in Wayne County.
You let that play something happen, you can't change what happened in the past. Let's go out here and try to stop them and keep them from scoring again.
Come on up!
A holding penalty nullified the score, but not letting the gift go to waste, Statesboro turned up the defensive heat, playing with a renewed aggressive efficiency.
Now let's go play some defense. Now let's go. Come on. Get in the ball game and let's go. Son, that was a great effort.
Wow, correct step. Set. Scrambles and down he goes. Sooner or later, people are going to feel he just can't run against this front four.
With With the Yellow Jackets defense stalemating the Blue Devils' ground attack, Statesboro went with the path of least resistance and took the high road.
There's a 5-step drop. Starts to work. Throws. Far side for Thompson. Has him open. The catch. Stevenson. Best throwing pass I've seen in high school in a long time.
Hey, you all right, no. We'll put a smile on your face. There you go.
Just trying to loosen them up a little bit because I think if you go back and look at the tape, they probably had 10 in the box on us. They ran a 5-3 defense and played their 2 cornerbacks almost at linebacker depth.
Charles Rock added the cherry on this Sunday of a game late as the Blue Devils improved to 4-0 and through 16 quarters have yet to be scored upon.
They never score, they never win. The defense wins championship. So that was kind of my little like season.
Truer words have never been spoken, and the 2005 Blue Devils D lived up to their hard-as-nails billing.
Johnston puts for the kill. Brought down for their game. Maybe another loss.
With players like D'Angelo Tyson, Justin Houston, Reed Tanner, and Josh Lanier greeting players at the line, Big Blue gave up just 90 total points.
White rolls far side under pressure. Tanner brings him down.
But the biggest problem was right in the middle of the storm.
Alex's presence on the defensive front is one that can be intimidating.
Czar will keep sweep near side, and down he goes. Was that Alex Stickle? It certainly was.
Having to block someone who's 6'2", 270 is one thing, but someone who's 6'2", 270 and as quick as a cat is another.
The linebacking core of Dominic Merity, Jadon Butler, Corey Rushing, and Josh McCook chipped in, holding 9 teams to less than 100 yards on the ground.
Near side Brown swinging near wing, and he's dragged down by David Jones.
Every now and then we'll put up a little contest so we can get the big plays or make the most tackles.
Topping it off was a secondary that didn't just pick passes off, but made sure opposing teams earned every yard.
Flash to Whitmore. 5-step drop. Deep fade far side for her. Wilkerson there, the tip, and a pick.
You know, I can't say enough about our defense all year, giving us short fields to maneuver on and, you know, not having to drive the length of the field to score points.
From the southeast look right on down the line, those first 4 ball games, everybody was feeding off each other and complimenting each other until we really found our comfort zone.
The Blue Devils' toughest test so far showed up week 5 with the arrival of Baldwin.
They had just an all-around good team. They had a good offense. They were balanced, and that their defense could play, you know, with just about anybody. So we knew if we didn't play, you know, one of the best games that, you know, we could end up losing that game.
Fresh off a 41-13 pounding of Jones County, the Braves came out swinging, squarely landed a haymaker on the Blue Devils' goatee chin.
Back to the eye, moving early by a ball with no flags. Spears the throw. Deep post has a man. The catch. Small side 20, 10, 5, and a touchdown for Baldwin.
It was my fault, man, because through the whole week of practice, coach was like, John, stay back. Like, I got you, coach. I can remember the first play they ran, it was a reverse, and I came up on the reverse, and I made it, and then they kept running, and I was coming up. They ran the play action, and I came up, and that's how they got their first touchdown.
Behind for the first time all year, Statesboro turned to their running backs to restore order.
Trying to dodge them freaking people, son. They trying to tackle you. Just make a little move, okay? You ain't got no shimmy in your shape.
Near give Lanier makes a turn 20. On his feet 15. A cut to the 10. 5 to the 1.
He's coming in. You got to pick him up. He's got to pick him up, and you got to make a call to get him.
An inch, fellas. Come on now. It's been wide open. Lock on 2. Shake. The give to Lanier. He'll lean. Get him 6.
His style of running is exactly what Statesboro needs right now.
After they scored, our offense realized, you know, guys, you know, this is a time where we've got to chew up some clock, keep their offense off the field.
And we came out the next drive and, you know, scored a touchdown, which I thought that was pretty big. So the defense knew that, you know, we were right there with them.
With the shutout streak over, Statesboro's defense had to regroup. But instead of an ill effect, it turned out to be more like kicking a sleeping pit bull.
Backs in the eye behind Spears. He gives to Marshall near side. He'll be brought down short of the first down.
Man, cheer up, man. What, you only had 10 tackles tonight?
All that shutout stuff is over. Let's get down here, get the business, and so we can put these guys away.
This devastating 1-2 combo had the Braves staggering, and with the Big Ugly keeping David Cone safe in the pocket, he was able to connect with Sherrod Matson and Charles Rock for big gains deep in the Baldwin territory, which was just close enough for one last go-ahead surge.
Near side give Rock to the 10, to the 5, really over man, get a 6. There, Marine says, oh no, that hurt.
With one last body shot by Brathon Wilkerson, the game was Statesboro's for the taking.
Throw to the field goal is the pick, and Mike Wall is the pick, and that'll take care of business.
Football is a contact sport, and every coach expects a few nicks and dings over the course of a season. Unfortunately for the Blue Devils, the injury bug came calling just a bit early.
In the Baldwin game, both Charles and Dominique got hurt ankles. Neither one of them could practice all week, so Charles Joyce and Tavis Maynard, our two backups, were pressed into duty, and both of them responded with very good games.
Hey, that's the way to go. We might break one right here. Let's go. Push forward for David Cone. Give this side to Mayor. 4. On his feet, far side. Far side, 20. 10, 5, 10, and 6. And the end carries the way to play the game.
I think he surprised a lot of people, you know. I mean, we knew he was a good back and everything. I think he had 4 TDs that game, one of them receiving, and you know, that's a good night wherever he played.
With a comfortable lead, Coach Tucker opened up the passing game, and Charles Joyce firmly established himself as a dual threat.
Come on, we can break one over here, Charles Joyce. Boston Comfort. Cone, set, throws, hands the man, Joyce. Give it 6.
Maynard finished with 111 yards. Joyce with just under 50, winning the contest 35-7. And next week against Lakeside, they picked up right where they left off.
Brown, Maynard, and Rock in the bone behind David Cone. The give near side Maynard. It's at the 5. He'll lead the 1. Give him 6.
I hope that time of the season, after that many games, that much practice, that things should be clicking.
The offense was rolling so well, even the not-so-good plays were coming up roses.
2-step jump for Cone. Fade near side for Knox. They catch the 15. 10, 5. Give him 6.
He won. Hey, NAI.
That's the fun part, you know, being able to, you know, because most of the time it's pretty intense. And being able to kind of have the light side come out just a little bit.
The Blue Devil defense was watching every Lakeside move, and they seemed to anticipate the path of every throw.
Actually, Drayton taking shotgun snap. Throws far side to Azar. Picked off by Jones. Far side 30, 20, 10. Give him 6.
I know we had a good opportunity to get a lot of turnovers because of the money.
There's Azar slant. Picked off. Near side 45, 40, and spun out of bounds. Rod Pennington, the coach's son.
Look at those hands. Oh, I got it for the mama.
The game well in hand, Coach Pennington went to his bench, giving us a sneak peek at the future of the program.
Connell to give near side. Marcus White breaking through 20, 15, 10, 5, give him 6.
Aaron's got to play where we bootleg him. You know, we'll take the power and bootleg him around. And we did it several times in the JV. And Aaron got a chance to run in the game and almost scored.
20, 15, 10, 5 to the goal line.
There ain't nobody from the middle of the field over here.
And just the week before, he had like an 80-yard run. He got caught at the 1-yard line. This time he has a 30-yard run. He gets caught at the 1-yard line. So I gotta teach him how to finish. Cause I scored one here.
You don't have to work on your 40-yard dash, son.
Even Alex Digo couldn't help but grin over the Blue Devils' 7-0 start. By week 8, the Statesboro football machine was so finely tuned, the band should have just played taps for Jones County instead of the Star-Spangled Banner.
8-man line, Rock off far tackle. Lenore banging near side 40, breaking clear 45, midfield near side 40, 33-yard line for Dominic Lenore.
Well, you ready to rip now?
There's no magic plays. It's just at that that point of the season, our guys were very confident.
Statesboro in the happy zone. From the 5, near side rock here. Walk in, give him 6.
A safety made it 9-0, and after a big punt return by Charles Joyce, the Devils took to the air and went for the jugular.
2-step drop, screen to Rock, wide open, 20, 15, 10, 5, spinning, get him 6.
What a tough situation for this Jones County team. You're down 16-0. Game basically just started, and you're going to have to go against a defense like this?
Welcome to Statesboro, boys.
Big Blue put up 16 points in the game's first 4 minutes, and with the offensive line paving the way for 6 backs to go for 254 yards, we're not done by a long shot.
We got that call in. We don't make it if we don't make a 2-on-2. But what we're going to have to start doing is you step weak.
I wonder if I can see the fear in my own eyes if I was going against you.
David felt good throwing the ball. We were giving him great time with the offensive line up front. Very confident in their assignments.
Deep snap, take the sprint, cross, set, throw, has Metson at the 5, get him 6.
Latavis Maynard capped off an explosive 37-point half, and with the defense holding Jones County to negative 27 yards rushing, Alex Deagle and company smiled even brighter. For years, Jack Webb had been synonymous with Blue Devil football. Serving in numerous capacities, he stood tall, helping design some of the team's stingiest defenses. But as the new head coach of the Effingham Rebels, he now stood in their way.
I told him that night, I said, you know, when we met at midfield, I said, I hadn't looked forward to this night at all. But I said, I'm going to play you hard, because I know you're going to play me hard.
Braithon Wilkerson got the party started, running back the opening kickoff 92 yards for the score, which allowed the ground assault to begin.
Second and 7 call for 46. Near guard Charles Rock, midfield 40, 20. Bobby Horse going down by Hamilton.
We didn't really want to run over our coach that bad, but we had to do it because we wanted to get what we got.
Square up and slow. Has the man switch the catch and
While the Blue Devils pounded away on offense, Alex Deagle sat in quiet meditation, just wondering.
If the offense is scoring, why can't the defense score?
Then went out and answered his own question.
right over his right guard, wedging in. Baker says safety, and that is the case.
Literally running the same offense and defense, the two teams mirrored each other. That was until Coach Pennington decided to break from tradition.
It was 4th and 5, and Coach, you know, he called a pass play where we got all deep routes here in the middle.
High school linebackers are assigned to cover running backs, and there's not too many high school linebackers that don't cover Charles out of the backfield.
Goes the 5 step, steps, throws, has the man Rock to catch the 5, get him there.
Holding the Rebels to 0 yards through the air, Statesboro took the first game in what's sure to be an epic series. After rolling over Greenbrier 48-6, the Blue Devils returned to the friendly confines of Womack Field to face Bainbridge in the opening round of the playoffs. Despite being Region 1's 4th seed, the Bearcats were the biggest team Statesboro had faced.
They had the best athletes in their region. And going in, we knew they had that good running back, and they were very big on defense. But at that point of the season, our offense was in pretty good mode.
But in the end, it was the Borough's special teams that struck first.
Knock to the Bainbridge 45, low snap, step, block by Wilkerson. Statesboro falls on it. Give him 6. Good job. Go it, man. Keep it going.
Braithon goes in there with an extra effort to try to make the play.
I know that's a defensive play, but they don't realize how much confidence that gives the offense to go out there and you know already you've got a 7-point lead and you haven't even touched the ball yet.
Bust this thing like we did in the Southeast game to get this thing rolling right, okay?
Set. 5:20 County first quarter. The cross buck Lanier, 30. Has room near side 40. Near has 50, 40. Bainbridge 30, 20. Near side 10, 5, get him 6.
Dazed and confused, Bainbridge had trouble executing the simplest of plays. And when the Blue Devils turned it over to Charles Rock, he powered them to a 24-0 first quarter lead.
Rock off left guard, slamming, give him 6.
When we had that 49 toss call, they switched them for some reason, so we were good.
But with a comfortable lead, the blue and white committed one of football's cardinal sins by letting up and getting sloppy.
Toss sweep Brown near side, halfback option to McIntyre. Touchdown.
We let our guard down, and Unfortunately, they hadn't came back on us.
Aikens the give. He'll leap over his guard and score. The game is completely done a 180 in favor of the guys wearing purple pants and cream tops.
That just lets you know that when you're up there, you don't never quit or whatever.
Clinging to a slim lead, the defense regrouped, first shutting down the Bearcat rushing attack.
The kid to Brown, leaning, he won't get it!
Then grounding their air attack.
Clears through packet, Whitmore. Fakes the sprint draw, 8-step drop, sets and throws down the middle. The pick by Hill is on 15, spinning 22-yard line, and a face mask as well.
There were broken dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground as Statesboro rolled on to the next round of the playoffs. Simply putting a team of talented people on the field is not enough. They need a leader to rally behind, and this year Statesboro had one of the best in quarterback David Cohn.
We had confidence in David all year long.
We speak of leadership qualities, but he is a core of that.
There's a 5-step drop, step. Throws fast off the rock, has the ball. 15, far side, 10, not a bad. Throws 5-step drop, step, has the band. The catch made, and a first down gathered in.
I don't think they really respected his ability to throw the football.
If it goes 3-step drop, step, whoop, throws down the middle for Rock, has it, 30, 26-yard line of first down.
That's why he's one of the top recruited players in the nation.
A 3-year starter for the Blue Devils, he led the team to an astounding 40 wins this year, throwing for just under 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns.
When we had some adverse conditions, our players never panicked. And I think much credit goes to David Cohn for that, because in fact he maintained football poise.
Throws a 5-step, step, throws, has a man Rock, to catch the 5, get him 6.
With an average margin of victory close to 28 points per contest, the Blue Devils left no doubt about their explosiveness. The only question was, could they gut out the close one? And in Week 12, Douglas County put them to the test.
Douglas came out because they know what to expect from us, because they played us last year in the first round.
And they kind of had the revenge factor in mind because we beat them last year, and it was so close.
Early on, Douglas almost made it easy trying to give it away.
Pushes, scrambles, drops the ball, picks it up, far side 50 to his 47 to Statesboro, the coverage sack.
That's one of the most simple things you're taught as a quarterback is hold the ball above your weight.
Come on, we gotta get better, let's go.
With the ground game slow going and points at a premium, Statesboro settled for a Josh Rich field goal to take the early lead.
Really want to try to get in the end zone, but having Josh as knowing he's there and knowing that, if we're not successful to get the ball in the end zone, it's comforting knowing that, we got 3 in the pocket.
In their first dogfight since Week 6 against Baldwin, the Blue Devils applied the pressure, and it wasn't long before the Tigers cracked.
Sprint draw give, and Josh McCook says no thank you because D'Angelo Tyson told the running back, no, you can't go anywhere either.
We needed a really close game to keep us going in the playoffs.
I know it was a tight game, but I never was really concerned about the outcome because I felt our kids, somebody was going to make a big play.
What we're going to have to start doing is use that week.
40, 45 midfield. Far numbers 40, 30, inside cut 23-yard line in the first down.
You probably might have got to in the end zone if you did not try to take on Mason Hill.
I'm ready to pitch, all right?
Code, 2-step drop, the fade, the Thompson far side, and in the air, does he have it? Then he shoots!
So now we're up 10-0 on a great team, and our defense, I don't know what they did to prepare for that offense. They did something right.
With Dominic Lanier and Charles Rock both rushing for over 100 yards, Coach Tucker figured it was time to give them a rest, telling David Cohn to loosen up his right arm.
Big third and almost 12 to go for the Tiger 40. Cohn the 5-step drop, sets, throws near side for Knox, has him, the catch, 5, give him 6!
Like I said, it was my favorite ride in the late side game. But when we was halftime, we were tight game, like you said, I was like, Coach, just throw me throw the ball up to him and I will get it, I promise you.
Closing out a low-scoring affair gave the team an edge so steely, Southwest DeKalb should have just stayed home and saved themselves the trouble.
The confidence level was so high at that point, it really didn't matter who we played.
Corey picking up that pass, taking it down to the 6, giving it a short field, punching that one in, and then the rest of it just sailed through.
But give us a leader, he'll pass, give him 6.
At times, it looked as though the Panthers were also trying to give the game away.
Jones, the beer look, he'll keep. Late pitch, missing it, ball on the ground, Statesboro has it.
The combination of Cannell Thompson, Sherrod Natson, and Charles Rock, however, knew exactly what to do.
Deep snap to Cone and shotgun. Sets. Throws in the post for Thompson. The catch. Give him 6.
I don't think they were prepared for the kind of offense that we were going to throw at them.
Another Josh Rich field goal pushed the lead to 24. And with the game under control, Coach Pennington finally turned his defense loose.
Hey, folks. What are you calling? Jones, the straight kid, and Alex Deacle says, "No, I don't think you're going anywhere, my brother." Far side, and nothing doing, and Statesboro stayed home.
Great penetration in the backfield there, and Digon had no chance to do anything.
Coach was like, those guys could run 8-4-2, 40s and all that. He was like, just stay back. I promise you, y'all will get y'all one.
And rolling far side, setting and throwing, intercepted McCook. Walk off left guard 5, walks in, get him 6. Time to pack your bags, kids, for the big house next week in the big town.
The Blue Devils were through to the semifinals, but the trip came with a price. During his second touchdown run against Southwest, Dominic Lanier tore his ACL and went down hard.
Tell you what, it was number 7, Carl McKenzie, dove at his left knee, but I think he planted wrong on his left knee, it appears.
It was tough. I don't think the hit was that hard, but I think at the time he planted, the hit was simultaneous.
Also, he's laying on the ground, I didn't know how serious it was or anything, because he had, people are always getting banged up.
What he meant to our offense, not only as a running back, but as a leader out there on the field with the guys, really kind of took a toll on us, but, we were going to play.
For the 5th time in 6 years, the Blue Devils were back in their dome away from home. Usually a team's preseason destination. For Statesboro, it was just another step.
I really feel that their mindset was saying, hey, it's great to be here, but we want to win a state championship.
Standing in their way were the Griffin Bears, and like two heavyweights in a title fight, the pair landed body blow after body blow.
Them guys had pretty good size and speed, and I don't think I ever been in a game like that.
Football on the play, ball on the ground. Who's got it?
From the first kickoff to the end, it was a war.
Stalemated at the end of the first quarter, Coach Tucker pulled just enough magic from his white towel to get things going.
They knew we could throw it, but they just didn't know maybe how effective we could be, even though we didn't throw it a lot.
Comes a 3-step drop, fade, near start for Knox. Has it, and he's out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
We felt like that with Cannell and John having a height advantage over their corners when they play in man, that we could hit them on the face.
Rolls far side, sets free near side for Natson. 40, near side 30, near numbers 20, near numbers 10, and a first down.
It created momentum for our offense, and really may have created a little doubt, are they going to run it or throw it once we got down there, and hopefully that opened up the door for us to punch it on the ground.
Third and 4 call for the 6, straight ahead Rock. On his feet, give him 6.
Staked to a 7-point lead, it was now up to the defense to make it stick, and stick they did. But the hit of the year goes to Braithon Wilkerson.
Toss with Barry, ball on the ground, fumble, Statesboro may have it, I think they do. All day, baby, all day.
I didn't really see the hit, but I just heard it was a crowd and got all hyped.
That the nastiest hits I might have ever seen in high school football.
The hard hit Ray Brooks put on that running back was truly a snot bubble.
They say great players rise up in big games, and in the second half, defensive end Justin Houston did just that, commanding every inch of the field and dominating it from sideline to sideline.
Justin was in his own zone, focused, ready to play.
Ball sweeps, now double reverses the bear. Behind a white block, but Houston will drag him down an open field play.
Ever since he been out there playing and making big plays, he been nasty. That game with Elvis, when he just came out and started doing that beyond kind of high step or whatever.
In the end, Statesboro knocked the Bears off their feet and out of the playoffs. Championship week was as festive as ever, with everyone doing their part to show school spirit. Students decorated every inch of space, but unlike years past, the football stadium was untouched. Due to the GHSA's new seating capacity rule, Womack Field was deemed too small, and the game was moved to Paulson Stadium.
Wasn't like we were moving the game to Effingham or Savannah or something like that. You know, it was still here, and we all just thought, you know, it might be fun to go play in Georgia Southern Field.
It turned out to be a great positive atmosphere, and I think our kids fed off of that crowd that was there. Northside, I'm sure their kids fed off their crowd, and I've been in the Dome 5 times, and we played state championships here and other places, and that was probably the most electric atmosphere that I've ever been in.
Relish this. It doesn't happen that much. Relish the environment.
In front of a packed house and keeping with Paulson tradition, the Blue Devils came out swinging.
The deep step, toss, fakes the toss sweep, deep throw far side, knocked away, David Jones the pick, in Warner Robins territory.
We tipped it up, and David Jones just came out and was like, we get turnovers like that. We just did it. It'll be fun all night.
The momentum did not last long as the game deteriorated into the defensive battle both sides were expecting.
Two-step drops, hits right to Armstrong, far side 29, and Wilkerson gets beyond the block.
With Statesboro stopping all the traditional plays, Northside went to the bag of tricks for one nobody had ever seen.
Rodriguez toss sweep to Hunter. To Armstrong, back to the quarterback, the deep ball near side for Hunter. He is open, 20, 15, 10, 5, he will score.
Initially what was going through my mind was that I couldn't believe they did that. We had worked on the reverse all week long. They just added the wrinkle with the throw back to the quarterback.
They mixed it up to get a touchdown. Congrats to them. And I just wanted to score as quickly as possible to get it tied up.
That would be easier said than done as the Eagles kept Charles Rock corralled. In the second, facing third and inches, however, Northside made their first mistake.
Fake by Rodriguez. She'll throw far side, underthrown, incomplete Jones, the tip away.
They were trying to catch us napping to see if we were so ingrained on maybe stopping their quarterback sneak and picking up on their tendency. But fortunately, David Jones was in the right spot.
And on fourth down, Statesboro showed off the defensive power to toss 6 shutouts.
Statesboro goal line D. He does sneak, and he will make it! He didn't make it, he lost a yard!
With the offense still misfiring, the Blue Devils played the field position game, pitting the Eagles deep. Forcing a punt from their own end zone, Statesboro took advantage of their second mistake of the night.
Barnard 3 yards deep in his end zone, bouncing snap. He bubbles it, and he's brought down, throws the ball away, it doesn't matter. Statesboro's going to get the ball at NWR's 2-yard line.
We were looking at it, and they don't really know ball. The snap was a low ball. And then especially I know when they were like deep down in the 5, it was going to be kind of nervous.
There was a lot of pressure on that snapper and that punter, as well as their punt team, knowing that we were coming to get the punt.
When with just a few yards to go, Charles Rock tied the game up with ease.
The give to Rock, he'll slam far side, give it 6!
On their next drive, the offense showed signs of life as David Cohn and Lonnie Brown hooked up for a big gain.
The screen for Brown, 35-30, 25-20, 15-yard line, a first down.
After a few close calls in the end zone, Josh Rich came on to give the Blue Devils the lead at the break. In the second half, Northside regrouped and came back strong.
Here give to the fullback of big yards, 25-20, 15 to the 10 and to the 9-yard line. Goes David Everett.
It's called zone play, where the running back just picks a hole where he wants to go and try to get yards.
Tying the game with this field goal, the Eagles had momentum on their side. And in the fourth, it looked as though they would take the lead with another. But once again, special teams came through.
Exchange, placement, kick up, blocked! Picked up Forsyth Jones!
All I can say is that Creighton Wilson, who's probably blocked at least 12 kicks in his last 2 years, really just has a burning desire and a know-how to block a kick.
I kind of gave Creighton a little shove at the ball. He was on his knees, you can tell, but when he did that, I'm like, you got it. He was on his knees.
With time running out, Statesboro tried to make one final push, but Northside didn't give an inch. With the game tied, both teams found themselves fighting the clock, trying to stave off the split championship.
Didn't want it to end in a tie. I really felt all along at that time we had a great chance to win that football game, because I really felt that our defense was going to keep them pinned back, make them punt. We had 3 timeouts, and if we could get the ball at midfield, something good was going to happen to get us in field goal range.
No Saint by a long shot, John Knox was listening and answered Coach's prayers.
Rodriguez to throw, has a man, ball knocked loose on the ground, rushing, recovers the fumble at the north side, 26-yard line, is John Knox, and a knockout!
I tried to kill him, but I ain't tried to knock the ball out of him. I was mad because he already had a call.
At that point, I said, you know, we have got a shot here, but we got to get a first down.
Turning to the ground game one more time, the offensive line surged ahead, and Charles Rock made the field goal almost a chip shot.
And I made the statement on the field a couple of times that I said, if you don't learn to be more disciplined and more consistent, you're going to cost us a state championship. And I told Steve, I said, you know, as many times as I chewed that boy out on the field, I said, he's fixing to win us a state championship.
Exchange, placement, kick, airborne. It's good!
With seconds remaining, the Blue Devils kicked off for the last time, covered, and rushed the field at Boston Stadium as champions of the 4A football world.
I was shocked just standing there. I couldn't believe we had won the game.
We knew we just won, but it really hadn't, sunk in yet, because it was more relief, because that's what we had worked on for so long,
It was nice, because let me tell you, ever since I've been playing football, I went to every single championship game, and I lost every single one of them up until that point.
It's just great relief to begin with, but it's also, for every coach, it's a lifelong dream that comes true.
I don't think you can write it any better. A way for our seniors to go out and win the state championship against a team that we weren't supposed to beat. It was supposed to be after last year, it was revenge for them, because we beat them in the second round 12-0, and beat them on field goals last year, 4 of them. And I guess kind of poetic justice, it was a field goal